Breaking news, right? He cannot catch a break. Breaking news. He's been arrested in Manhattan. Some people would say finally. But watch this.
Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested and indicted on federal charges. The disgraced music icon has faced startling allegations for months of rape, sexual assault, physical abuse, gun trafficking, and drug trafficking. On Monday evening, he was indicted by a grand jury in New York. He was taken into custody in Manhattan, where he's been for the last week in anticipation of these charges. Now, the charges haven't been made public just yet. In fact, the indictment was sealed. But according to the New York Times, a person familiar with the prosecution says they believe Diddy faces charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Diddy's legal team said they were disappointed with the...
I look at it like this, right? I look at it like this. They've been trying to get Diddy. They've been trying to get Diddy since day one. But ever since Diddy climbed up the ladder and climbed up the wrong tree, the Diageo tree, the tree, you know, the alcohol company that owns a lot of spirits that people like to indulge in, right? Ever since he barked up that billionaire tree, they shut him down. Do y'all believe that they just found out that Diddy was doing this? I just want y'all honest opinion. Do y'all honestly sit there and believe that they just found out Diddy was doing this? Or they just used this against him because he climbed up the wrong tree? Grab your pots and pans, it's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula. But let's continue, because I just wanna get the audience to think for a second. Critically thinking at that. But let's continue.
Decision to prosecute, but mentioned their client has been cooperative with law enforcement. A statement from his legal team reads, quote, Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. He is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. All this comes about 6 months after 2 of Diddy's homes were raided by federal investigators back in March.
Pause.
Then we couldn't confirm Diddy was...
Pause. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. My thing is this, right? And this is another point of view I just want the audience to think. Once again, I want the audience to think. Did y'all, Cassie, first of all, did y'all know that, and this is a fact, did y'all know that P. Diddy's father was an FBI agent? Did you know that P. Diddy's father was an FBI agent? Did you know that Cassie left a good guy that she was with that introduced her to Diddy and never seen the guy again? So do I have any pity for Cassie? That's very subjective. Because how could I have pity for her when that's the lifestyle that she wanted? Now, do I advocate for you to beat women? No. I don't advocate men to ever do that. All right? But you have to have some form of accountability. Cassie left a good man to go with the stars and the limelight. So sometimes I look at it as if that's the lifestyle that she wanted. She wanted the money, the glamour, the fame, right? We know that ugly things come with that. Can we talk about it? But let's continue.
A target of the Homeland Security raids or what information the feds collected. Most of what we know came from the 5 civil suits with a series of shocking allegations ranging from the 90s until now. Multiple people alleged Diddy raped them, drugged them, and recorded all of that. We can't confirm it just yet, but it was likely those civil lawsuits that led up to the federal investigation and later Diddy's arrest.
That's crazy to me. So, that led up to the lawsuit and everything else. Let me let this commercial go by, but let's continue.
Constantly developing,
this is live.
so stay with Law and Crime for all the latest updates. For now, let's take a look back at the allegations leading up to Diddy's arrest. For the past 3 decades, we've come to know Sean Combs as multiple different names. P. Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Puff. The 54-year-old is a rapper, entrepreneur, and label exec. Things changed for him on March 25th when Homeland Security raided 2 of his homes, one in California and the other in Florida. There's no word yet whether Diddy himself was the target of those raids, and he's not been charged criminally.
Pause. I've also heard that Diddy hit you with the Diddy. Did y'all see his take that, take that, take that? Y'all too late. His son then came out with a song and said, you know what? If y'all was smart, y'all knew that we had another house across the street. I've heard allegedly, hypothetically, supposedly, Diddy got tunnels in his house anyway. But let's continue.
That being said, some allegations of his criminal past became a major topic of conversation when news of the raids broke.
That's what was so stunning when Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit earlier this year. It kind of broke the dam, and it was just the floodgates opened, and all of these other allegations started to come to the surface.
Did y'all know that Cassie was actually an informant as well? Can we talk about it?
That's Melba Pearson, a former prosecutor who's followed the Diddy case meticulously since it broke. Her interest actually dates back farther than just last month, when Diddy's Bad Boy for Life mantra was just a song. And we know about the allegations now that have happened in the past couple months via these civil suits. But if we go back, I know that you have kind of followed Diddy for a while and you're pretty knowledgeable about that era. From the 90s until now, prior to these civil lawsuits being filed, was there talk of wrongdoing on Diddy's behalf?
There really wasn't. You know, to compare him to R. Kelly, for instance, there were rumors swirling around R. Kelly from the beginning, and that started off with his marriage to a very underage Aaliyah, and that's when folks were like, okay, something doesn't seem right here. But like, kind of put it to the side, just kind of put a pin in it for a few decades until all the bombshell allegations and, well, ended up being proved in a court of law came forth. I feel like with Diddy, we didn't hear that much. We knew that he partied hard. We knew that he was always going to high-profile events and all of that. But I personally have never heard any rumors surrounding any wrongdoing or anything having to do with him. This is an artist who really came to prominence in the...
Diddy dirt was covered. Little do y'all know. The only reason why we know about this right now, because he barked up the wrong tree. When he said that he wanted to sue Diageo, let me pull up. I'm gonna show y'all what's going on. Diego. Diego. That's the name of it. Diego. They own and smash that like button. Tell a friend and tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not the end. I'm gonna run down the list of the things and the spirits and the alcohol that they own. When he barked up this tree, that's when the catastrophe started happening with Diddy. They been knew about Diddy. They had those tapes for years. Why they just showing y'all? Don't fall for the okie doke. So, according to Google, the Diego alcohol brand consists of Johnny Walker. Smash that like button if you drunk some Johnny Walker. Smash that like button if you drunk some Smirnoff. Smash that like button if you drunk some Baileys. Smash that like button if you drunk some Captain Morgan. Now I'm running down the list of the brand that's underneath Diego, the spirit, the alcohol company. That's why Diddy is in trouble. But let's continue. How about Tanqueray? Never heard of that one. How about, everyone should know about this one, the Don Julio. Y'all know about the Don Julio. How about Draft Guinness, right? Y'all definitely know about this one. Mi Migo, Yo Migo. This one is called Casa Migo. Y'all know about that one. Can we talk about the Ciroc? That was I guess Diddy was promoting Ciroc, and he felt like I don't know if he had a percentage in the company. I don't know what their deal was. He promoted it. He felt like they wasn't paying him as much. He got the brand popping. XYZ. How about Avion American Gin? These are all under Diego, right? This is an alcohol spirit company, a billionaire. If you do your research on this company, you would know that they used to be a family of bootleggers. These bootleggers used to bring that thing across the border when you couldn't drink alcohol. Now that it's illegal, they're still in the stores. Peep game, watch game, right? You got something called Crown Royale. You have Kettle One. You have the Singleton. You also have Bales. You have Black and White. You have Bundabergs. You have Canadian whiskey. You have De Leon tequila. You have La Vigne. I haven't heard of that one. You have Thelixkers. And those are the brands that's underneath Diego, 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 I would guess, or Diego, or I don't know how to announce or pronounce their name. My bad if I butchered it. But look up that family and it will all start to make sense, right? Let's go back to Law and Crime, because they did a wonderful job at breaking this down. Let's go back to Law and Crime.
90s. We remember all of the videos. He was very close with Biggie Smalls, who also tragically lost his life back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so he was somebody who had this whole orbit around him, and so many different artists like Maze and all these different folks that sprung out from this record label and orbit that they were in. So he had a huge impact on what R&B and hip hop looked like in the 90s and the 2000s, and continued to be influential today in terms of other artists that have, gained prominence and gained fame, as well as him as a producer having this really huge presence in the industry. So absolutely, this is a bombshell, and this is something where the impact is going to be reverberating around the globe for a variety of reasons.
But during this era, Diddy did have some trouble with the law. Back in 1999, he was arrested and charged in the...
What was he arrested and charged from in 1999? What was he arrested and charged from in 1999? It's live. I'm doing it off the phone, mobile, right? So let the commercial play through. Let's get it.
Girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rappers. But during this era, Diddy did have some trouble with the law. Back in 1999, he was arrested and charged in the shooting at a New York nightclub. His then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shine were also arrested. Those charges were dropped, but it was Shine who faced the most serious charges: 3 counts of attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Ultimately, both Diddy and Shine went to trial. Diddy was acquitted, but Shine was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was released in 2009 and deported back to his home country of Belize.
Red flag on that one. How did that happen? What happened, co-defendant? What did you do, co-defendant? We got to dig deep into that case. Like I say, did y'all know that Diddy's father was an FBI agent? Did y'all know that Diddy had dirt on everybody, from all of the politicians to all of the richest to all of the music gurus? He had dirt on everybody. So he had something called leverage. But let's continue.
If we're looking at it in the 1999 lens, or the early 2000s when they went to trial, what was everyone making of it then?
So I think people were not horrified per se. I think they looked at it as, well, this is part and parcel of the hip hop industry. I don't think it was very shocking because, there's definitely a perception, somewhat reality as well, that there is violence in the hip hop community and sort of that beef between different groups or different labels. We all know about the East Coast, West Coast beef that was going on during the 90s with Tupac on...
The East Coast, West Coast beef was fabricated by the media. It really wasn't beef, and the media told them to beef. But we can dive deep because that's the program that they want you to think. But let's continue.
On one side, Biggie on the other. So this was something that was
R.I.P.
an
Biggie.
outgrowth of that time frame. So I don't think folks were super shocked at that juncture. I think what was more shocking was sort of Jennifer Lopez's involvement in all of this, because I don't think, even though she was like, yeah, I'm Jenny from the block, I don't think anybody really saw her as really going to be that, quote unquote, that chick who is, coming with the firearm and is going to, hold it down and ride or die for her man. Like, I don't think people really saw that of her. So I think that was the most shocking part of the case back in 1999.
So we've got these allegations that Diddy was responsible as the shooter, but also allegations that J-Lo carried the weapon that Diddy used in the shooting.
What?
What's interesting here is
What? I knew Jenny, that Latino came out of her. That Latino came out of her and said, you know what, I gotta ride or die. One thing about the Latino community I can't say, two things for certain, one thing for sure, they ride and die for this. They ride and die, little miniature gangsters. Smash that like button if you agree. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Right now, we're just covering the update on Diddy. He just got arrested in Manhattan. A lot of people are rejoicing because of this. But I begin to dive deep. Do they really have Diddy or not? Like I say, when he started to go against and did a lawsuit against Diego or whatever, or Diageo, can't pronounce their name or announce their name correctly. That brand that owns a lot of spirits that we drink. That's when everything started to go downhill for Diddy. That's when everything started to go. It's like you're playing a billionaire game now. So what they gonna do? First thing, the art of war, destroy your image. 48 laws of power, destroy your enemy's image. I'm just saying, but let's continue.
Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, says Diddy made her do the same thing. She filed a lawsuit in November of last year, laying out some pretty severe allegations about Diddy. To start, there's that gun allegation that on at least 2 occasions, Diddy demanded Cassie hold his gun in her purse. The lawsuit goes on to state, quote, there was no clear reason why Mr. Combs required her to hold his gun, except to reinforce to his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful, and dangerous.
Not only did Jennifer Lopez allegedly bring the gun to the club, now we're also looking at, years later, Cassie coming forward and saying that Diddy forced her to carry a gun with her when they went out to different events. So again, I think that this is more along the lines of, when you look at this from a domestic violence lens, from the standpoint of the abuser being very controlling and demanding certain activities to prove loyalty, to basically put yourself in a bad situation where only he can be the one to save you, basically. So in seeing that, the parallels between J-Lo's experience and Cassie's experience, number one, it brings more...
No offense, but if you're paying more than $30 per month on car insurance, you're getting...
What y'all think about
what
that?
Cassie said in her pleadings, but also, again, it causes us to look at Jennifer Lopez and be like, some of the comments she made about the end of her relationship to Diddy, in terms of, well, there was infidelity, and, she kind of skirted the issue a bit, but when you start to look back at her comments, you start to think, ooh, were you in a domestic violence relationship with Diddy, much like how Cassie ended up in a domestic violence relationship with him?
What would have made her want to come forward, and what did you take away from that civil suit?
So the reason why she came forward at this juncture is because New York and California both passed laws around, which was called the Adult Survivor Act. So that...
The reason why she came out, the Adult Survivor Act, she was broke. Let's just be real. The guy that she was with do not have more money than Diddy. No Diddy. So she had to go and get the money and get the bag, honestly. Let's continue.
Basically extend the statute of limitations.
It's interesting that several more people have come forward. There's 4 additional lawsuits to Cassie's, and several of them mention Cassie by name and say, hey, because she came forward and told us about these allegations, we felt comfortable doing the same thing. So did it really backfire for Diddy then?
I think it did, because if this had been settled without any kind of public involvement, any kind of media coverage, these other people may never have come forward.
Point taken.
So by, kind of calling her bluff and saying, oh yeah, there's no way you're gonna file this, he did himself a whole lot of damage. But I'm glad, because at least now the truth is going to come out and everyone will know who this person is. And now, of course, that kicked everything into high gear in terms of law enforcement involvement in investigations. So as much as this whole thing is sad and sordid, I'm glad that it's coming out so that more survivors can get the closure that they need and that he can be brought to justice for the crimes he's perpetrated on others.
Among those other lawsuits, another filed under the New York Survivors Act by Joy Dickerson Neal. Her allegations date back to 1990.
What do y'all think about this this Survival Act? Should a woman be able to, after 30 years, come and compensate or sue or do a civil lawsuit against something that allegedly, hypothetically happened, right? And how does that disrupt the person's public representation? How does that mess that up? What's the side effects? I want to know, do y'all think, now for the woman who this actually happened to, sure, right? If it's the truth, yes, I'm all for it. But for the woman who claimed, allegedly, hypothetically, or they was with the whole program and then they decided to switch up because they know either money ran out or maybe he just got a new piece like Caresha Please, and it's like when you get a new baddie, it's like the old baddies feel like they no longer need it. So maybe Diddy was paying attention too much to Caresha Please, making sure that she was straight, that had Cassie in the corner like, my God, my fathers, what about me? Now that it's not about me, let's get it. That's just me hypothetically speaking, just giving it another objective or route. I just want people to think, right? Because if you wasn't there, you really don't know. But I just want people to think and critically think about these things, right? Let's stir the pot. Grab your pots and pans, it's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula.
When she was a student at Syracuse University, Joy says Diddy intentionally drugged her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Joy also alleges she's a victim of revenge porn because Diddy allegedly recorded the rape and passed around that videotape. According to her suit, Joy demands a jury trial, as does Liza Gardner, who also says Diddy raped her in New York in the 90s. According to her civil suit, Liza and her friend met Diddy at a party and later went with him to an after party where she, quote, was offered more drinks and coerced into having sex with Combs. Liza says Diddy and another man raped her and her friend. Later on, she says Diddy choked her to the point that she lost consciousness. While Jane Doe doesn't list her name in the lawsuit, she does list multiple photos of herself and Diddy. Her allegations date back to 2003 when she was just 17 years old and in 11th grade. Her lawsuit states at this time, Diddy was twice her age and one of the most well-known and influential music artists of all time. Jane Doe alleges Diddy flew her from Michigan to New York on a private plane. So basically, she got blinded by the light, and a lot of people do. They let that money corrupt their mind or their morals and principles. She was 17-year-old, seeing the light. This guy's a billionaire, a millionaire. I will probably do whatever to get by him and next to him. Now, you playing the innocent role, not knowing that he probably, allegedly, hypothetically, wasn't playing that role. And, it just goes to show. People gotta protect their daughters, protect their kids. What you doing 17 around somebody twice? I know women date up, but damn, you 17 around somebody 2 to 3 times your age, you don't need to be in that room. It's all finessing going on. That's what I smell, but let's continue. And raped her in a recording studio. All of this leads us back to Lil Rod's 74-page lawsuit that was filed back in February, detailing a laundry list of wild accusations. Melva says all this parallels a trajectory we've seen before.
Oh, it absolutely is a fall from grace. I have no question in my mind that this is going to be the end of Diddy as we know him, right? Oh. The next chapter is going to be him incarcerated, much like R. Kelly.
Whoa, that's crazy. Y'all really think that he's going to get incarcerated? Do y'all really think that he's going to get incarcerated? I just want to know what y'all think. Leave them comments down below. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not
Sad,
the end.
tragic, and horrible, not only for him, but more importantly for the survivors who have gone through some horrific experiences. But yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the end, because with all of the allegations that have come forward and come forth at this juncture, all the artists that have come forward alleging wrongdoing, I can't see how he gets out of this. I just can't.
According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, he lived with Diddy for months at a time while working on Diddy's Love album. During this time, he says Diddy sexually assaulted him, forced him to have sex with prostitutes, and drugged him. On top of all this, Lil Rod says his allegations are corroborated, with hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in some serious illegal activity, because Diddy apparently required Lil Rod to record him constantly. The lawsuit even lays out some pictures, like this one, showing Cuba Gooding Jr. with his arm around Lil Rod. According to this suit, Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. Court documents go on to state, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. But then there are other defendants listed, like corporations such as Universal Music Group and Motown Records, along with their higher-ups. To understand this, I spoke to entertainment attorney Mitra Okurian. In addition to these record labels that are listed as defendants, they also list CEOs, a former CEO of Motown Records and then a current CEO of UMG. So I'm wondering why, in addition to these labels, are they listing the CEOs?
Yeah, they're trying to pierce the corporate veil. They're trying to say that, you as individuals also were aware of these things happening.
Someone we know for sure is speaking with investigators, though, is Cassie. Melba says she's not surprised.
I expect that she would have, because again, if she's telling the truth, then she's going to give any evidence that she has. So in terms of if there's recording she knows existed, right? I mean, she may not have possession of it, but she could be like, listen, in July of 2005, he forced me to do XYZ at, this particular hotel. There may be surveillance footage to show me going in and out of the building. There may be this video that he took of the horrible events that may have happened that day. So now at least law enforcement will know exactly where to look and start to narrow down different timelines, and then also speak to other witnesses or maybe other survivors that were present and victimized at another point in time, but they can help corroborate some of what she's saying, and that is going to help put together the case against Diddy, likely for human trafficking, for sex trafficking, narcotics charges, etc.
So what we believe is that the Cassie lawsuit...
I'm going to leave a link down below. I want y'all to watch the rest of that. That's from Law and Crime. I'm going to leave the link down below when I finish editing this video. Just a quick live real quick. Let me know what you think about Diddy getting arrested. And just let me know what you guys think about it. Was it rightfully done? Is there some form of justice in it? How do you feel about him molesting and or coercing these women to do this? How do you feel about him keeping leverage on the industry? And if so, why aren't we finding out more information about the actual higher ups? It seems like we're dealing with everybody on the base level, right? Not saying that they shouldn't be paid attention to, because hurt people, right? And it's good for safety is very important, right? And women are very precious. So you don't want to do anything negative in a lighting that will come back and haunt you, right? That's why I tell people, positivity over negativity always. Smash that like button, tell a friend and tell a friend. This is the beginning, this is not the end. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Boom.